Hey guys, in this video we're going to focus on data assets. In the last video we worked on data tables and we ran into a couple struggles, but that's fine. And again, with data assets I expect to run into some more struggles because I haven't used them in prior projects. I think it's something that we should really focus on in this project though. So we've set up our project, set up version control, we played with data tables. So let's get started with data assets, and like normal, let's find out together what is a data asset through a quick Google search, because I'm sure this describes it better than I do. UE5 data assets. In UE5, a data asset is a type of asset used to store and manage data related to specific game systems, such as item stats or character information. They are distinct from standard actors as they exist purely as data containers in the content browser and do not need to be spawned in the world to be accessed. There's some benefits to them. Organization and reusability. That's why I want to use them. Because for a turn-based combat game like that I have planned, there's lots of repetition. You can imagine for each battle, there's typically between like 1 and 4 characters. So as the game progresses, there's always going to be in the battle 1 to 4 characters, but or enemy characters, I mean, but there's going to be different variations and different enemies based on the location of the game or the environment. Performance is a nice benefit, and there's some differences between primary data assets and data assets. So similar to a data table, if you remember in the last video, we created a struct, which included just the setup of the variables that we would use in a data table. The variables meaning like name and description. Data assets have a similar setup, and we'll get to that, but that's what the primary data asset is. And then the children, or similar to the data tables, now the data assets have the actual fields and data that is stored that we can rotate and choose different ones of. How to create a data asset, we'll get to that. But also what I have read and listened to and watched is that data assets are used for more complex purposes, especially that for reasons that have logic, because data tables are used just to store, like, for the most part, set information or set details or set numbers. But data assets, you can actually have logic to them. So I think where we were just inputting like descriptions and names for items, I think a data asset would be more appropriate, like for characters. And we're going to store things like what they look like, or their mesh, static or skeletal mesh. There may be a few different animations, and what happens when they get hit, and those things. So because they have logic, they are a blueprint. For me, I think what I'm going to do is keep them in the blueprint section. So we're going to get started now. I'm going to create by a new folder, right clicking, create new folder. We're going to go to, we're going to name this one data_assets in our blueprints folder. Let's open it. And like I was describing, instead of a struct, we're going to right click, type in primary, nothing. Data asset. I guess I can start with that, but here, similar to our last video, we're supposed to select one. But what I want, maybe this is just where I type in primary. Okay, yeah. So we go to data asset. First, we're going to create our own primary asset. Select. And we did items with data tables. So right now I want to use this for characters and maybe enemy characters. So we're going to open it up. Let's drag this to our window. What is this? Oh, this is a primary asset label. I think that was incorrect. Let's just copy that name. Primary data asset, not an asset label. What I want is a primary, but it's not there. If I go to miscellaneous, primary, no. Data, asset, primary, there's only one. Data. Interesting. Why would this not be here? Primary? Nowhere. Primary? Let me pause for a sec. Okay, I had to watch a quick Ryan Laley video. Obviously, it's in Blueprint class. And here from the drop down, this is where we search for our primary data asset. Not the label one, primary data asset. So I'm happy I stuck it in the Blueprint folder. Seems like that's what makes the most sense. So primary, so data asset, but I'll put, I guess, P. Enemy characters. You know what? I'm just going to put like this. Data asset. And I have the primary. So now when we open this, we can add variables. It is a blueprint. It has this event graph. We can add functions. We can do lots of logic. So if we think of an enemy character, I'm just going to add a few basic things. I guess let's start with the name. We can start with what it looks like. Appearance. Enemy mesh, I guess. Let's click on these to make them public. When you click on them, it says variable is public and editable on each instance of this blueprint. Okay, so we have a name, we have this, and then I think I'm gonna try, maybe not today, but let's add an animation. Maybe we can make them idle or something. And for the name, we will go to name, enemy mesh. Let's go to, I think I want 2. Do I want 1 or 2? I guess I don't want the static mesh, but let's do skeletal mesh. Mesh actor is an instance of in the world. Okay. Geometry bound to hierarchical, which can be animated for the purpose of deforming the mesh. Okay. And this can be at runtime. So I'll try skeletal mesh actor. Maybe it's the other one, but we'll find out. So we have a name. We've got something visible to us in an animation. Asset. I don't think that's right, but I think it's the closest thing. I don't think we'll be doing this today. In any case, we've got a few things here. I want to hook up an animation so the character is idle. I think it's going to look a little bit better, but it's not as important. So we've got our data asset primary setup. Now let's go to our folder. Now we can add data assets. And we're going to connect it with the DAP. Now this naming structure for these will be DA. We get to name our character. I don't know what I'm going to bring in yet, so it's kind of tricky, I guess. Let's just DA big enemy. And we'll name Control D to duplicate. Then we'll just name a DA small enemy. And DA medium enemy. Okay, so we're going to open one of these up. We're going to name this big enemy. And I don't have any of these set up yet because I haven't brought some things in. So let's cover that. So DA medium, or I'm sorry, just medium enemy and a small enemy. I don't think with data assets you can do like data tables import stuff because this is not so much of a spreadsheet. This is actual variables for blueprints. Let me know if I'm wrong. So I'm going to save what we got here in each of these. And I'm going to head over to the Epic Games launcher because I have some assets to migrate over. I think there's even plugins to do this now. It's been a while, but basically in the library from the marketplace or fab, I have some assets that I've either downloaded for free or purchased. And my game is going to be stylized. So there's a few assets here. Oh, great. Looks like I have to update all of them. I hope that doesn't take long. But let's just start with this one. Stylized fantasy forest creatures. Let's see. It's just going to take a moment. Oh, you know what? It looks like this one's ready anyway. So I'm going to so after you go to the marketplace and you download an asset, it gets sent either to the fab library, which you can access here in the launcher, or you have it, I think, visible in the fab like directory in the web browser. And in either case, you select the options to. We're having trouble reconnecting us. Yeah, my internet keeps having issues. So from the web version, you kind of select the options to push it after you purchase or download it to the Epic Games launcher. And then from here, in the Unreal Engine tab, you can access it. And then you go on here to add to project. Now I'm going to select the series one. No compatible user objects found. Interesting. Okay, so that particular one is not compatible with 5.7. So hopefully the artist makes an update. The one that we are updating is almost done. I'm assuming it's going to be compatible. I'll just pause it until it's done. It seems like most of my character assets are not available to move to 5.7.1. I think it's because it's so new. So even any of the artists, none of them are available. You can see here, the selected asset is not compatible with 5.7 project. So maybe in a week or so it'll be ready, but that's okay. Let's go back. So back to our data assets. So our enemy mesh. Okay, so instead of a skeletal mesh, because what I was planning on doing is importing actual characters, let's just update this now to a static mesh, which is more like objects. So let's go to static mesh, and this might be pretty cool to see that change. So hopefully all of these are now, yeah, now our enemy mesh. I guess we're gonna have to choose some funny big bad objects. What do we got here? Anything fun? Okay, I guess we're gonna fight an arrow. None of these are gonna have animations. So the arrow is the big enemy. What else do we got? Maybe a pyramid is the middle enemy. Let's save each of these, and then the small enemy is this little base. I mean, really, I think I did complete opposite. This is the biggest. This is the middle, and that's the smallest, but that's fine. So now what I am curious about is what I want to do is like in the turn-based battle, I've got my different, I guess, odd shapes and stuff because I can't import the characters yet. What I want to do is just when the level begins here, let's place these guys over here because I don't think I can drag and drop data assets. So what's interesting then is how do we get these on the map? I think that's what the blueprint. And on here, I'm gonna guess. Let's do event begin play. No, we can't. Interesting. I think we have to create a blueprint. Let's name this. Who knows? I might go off completely in the incorrect way here. Let's go. We're gonna add blueprint actor or pawn. I wonder, is enemy character a pawn or an actor? Let's Google it. UE5 turn-based combat. Enemy character a pawn or actor? Character. Use a pawn or character as a base class. Pawn is best for simple non-humanoid entities, just possession, while character suits humanoid figures that might need walking and flying. Interesting, okay. Okay. Let's just go with it. So we're gonna do BP enemy character. Let's open this up. And we can come on over here. So right here, this is the viewport. And the mesh is going to be the static mesh. I wonder, can I add a data table as a component? No. Okay. But we can assign in the blueprints things to this. So in the construction script, this is what happens before begin play. So what we're going to do is this blueprint enemy character, you can see in the viewport, if I were to click on the mesh, skeletal mesh asset. Oh yeah, because it's supposed to be, oh. Okay, I think it has to be an actor because right now we don't have any skeletal meshes. This is messing us up. So let's just do, for the tutorial purposes, blueprint class. We're going to do an actor because all I have are shapes at the moment. Let's click an actor. We'll do BP enemy character or enemy actor. Sure. That way I know. Eventually we're just going to delete this, but it's fun to test anyway. So we're going to open this up. And now I'm going to add a mesh. And you know what? I wonder, I think to make life a little easier and less messy, I'm just going to add a mesh to this one. So I can delete this one. So I'm going to change my mind on this. I'm going to delete this, delete, break everything. I'm going to come on in here. I'm selecting, and then I'm going to add a mesh, a static mesh. Yeah. Okay. Normally I wouldn't do this if we're just dealing with characters, but I have to wait for the marketplace artists. They probably already have submitted, but Epic has to approve the updates. So I think it did come out very recently. So here, for instance, I can select a nice sphere and it'll pop up. But what I want, instead of just having so many different blueprint enemy characters, one of the whole major purposes is to be able to assign the data assets. It's much more efficient that way. So we're going to go to the construction script, which is where the logic happens before the event begins play. And here's where it's going to get a little tricky. But before, I don't have any reference to the data assets that we created. So I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to name it enemy character data. We're going to name it, we're going to try to get the TAP that I named, data asset primary. And then we're going to have enemy character data assets, I guess. I'm pretty bad at naming variables. So I always tend to like name it the same as the variable type. I wonder, should I be even doing that? I think maybe all I need is the primary. Yeah, maybe I don't even need this. Okay, then let's delete it. So I'm going to make this instance editable. I'm going to bring this out. And similar to how we were breaking up the, what's it called? The data tables in the last episode. I think if I type in get here, I can start accessing our variables when I scroll down. So I have the animation we set up, the enemy mesh, and the name. So I want to get the enemy mesh. I want to get the name. And then I want to get the static mesh that I added to the component here. Typically it would be mesh, the skeletal mesh, and then the mesh. I'll have to update that later. And then where do I go? I think I want to set this, set static mesh. Were there other options? Set static. Yeah, I think that's right. New mesh. I think we can go like this. Sure. Go here. Compile. I have to even look at my data table as a reference. So at the beginning, we are setting the static mesh to be one of these, but in the viewport, we haven't really selected which one. Let's see. I feel like that's not right. Maybe it's this one. Set static. Yeah, but then how do I know if whether I'm getting like the big one, the small one? I mean, nothing's happening there because I haven't. Let's see. Okay, so we've done this. I think I actually have to do, instead of just the print string, I have to set it to, so we'll do that in a moment. But next, let's go to drag out and promote it to a variable, which does a set, and that's the enemy character name. Done. Done. Something like that. See if that all helps or works. Fingers crossed. We're learning. If you double click the line, you can kind of what's it called? Direct it. And then if you hotkey or if you select, you push Q and it makes them straight. So you can kind of try to stay organized. Okay, so when I click compile, this variable will now be visible in the BP enemy character itself. Right now I named it enemy character data, enemy character data, and name. These are both now visible because they've both been set. So for here, now here I can select one or the other, but I think what I want to do I think if I do expose on spawn, let's go over here, expose on spawn. I don't think that matters for this. But let's see what happens when I do expose on spawn, and then I go over to the map, and I think now, what happens if I drag this thing out? It's blank, okay. But I think because I did expose on spawn, let's undock my content browser, exit, whatever. Yeah. I think I can go to character. Yes, and fingers crossed. Let's get a big enemy. It might be an arrow or something. Ah, there's my arrow. Cool. It was hard to tell because of my widget. Or my what's it called? My gizmos. When you select, you can rotate by dragging with the E hotkey. If you go to R, you can scale it. W is up, down, left, right. Anyway, so I have one there now. And you know what I'm going to even do further to that? This is going to be our parent class. So, what does that mean? If this is a parent class, I'm going to try to store like all of the code that each enemy character would have in here. And that's better for performance to make any minor edits in a child. So I'm going to right click this. I'm going to create a child blueprint class. Let's name this BP enemy. Man, my mouse and everything is all really slow right now. Enemy. What is going on? My keyboard's not working. Okay, let's try this again. BP enemy. What did I name him? Oh, BP big enemy. Do I name a child or something like that? BPC? Maybe that's easier. I don't know if that's a thing or not. BPC. And then I'm just going to Control D to duplicate this now. BPC medium enemy. Oh no. That's what happens. That's why you saved. I don't think I saved. Yeah, awesome. All these things shut down on me. Cool. So let's select all and restore. If we're lucky, got something to work with. Okay. All right, I got lucky. Let's file, save all. Oops. Control space bar. Let's make this a BP medium enemy. And I wonder if it's going to crash again. Maybe it didn't like saving a duplicate child for some reason. Nope. I just got unlucky. An MVP, small enemy. I lost my tabs. That's not that big a deal. Okay, so now I have 3 child blueprints, and the way that their assets are configured is through the data assets, which is all pretty cool. I haven't really done this before. See, I have all these like default I don't know what you call these things, but indicators. It's all related to light and pre-game stuff, but if you want to hide it, you just push the G key. The same things, you can hide like navigation mesh, a few of these things. This is the player start. Things that are invisible during the game, and they're kind of just in your way, like they are to me now. Just push G to hide them. So now I'm gonna select these guys. I have to dock it because it keeps disappearing. Select, drag them in. F to focus. Never mind, that didn't work. Let's do one at a time, maybe. Oh, it's because I had. All right. That was my own fault. So I've got. So what happened is I had G, but then my collision spheres or whatever those things are, my platforms, my capsules also disappear. So I think I've got all 3 of them, even though it only show. Oh yeah, I've got 3. So I'm gonna just drag one of these things down. Oh my goodness. Let's just go to PPC, and you can search and find all of your actors in the world in the outliner. Now we can access them a little bit better one at a time. So right now, they're all arrows because that was what I saved them as. But we're gonna just update them real quick because I was able to expose on spawn. And then if you push the N key, it touches them to the ground. And that's not what I want. Come on. And okay. I really wish I had characters. That would be much cooler than whatever is about to happen. So I've got my big enemy, character data asset is let's do medium. Oh no, I'm sorry. That one is supposed to be big. My medium guy is supposed to be medium. So now he's got the cone, and then my small enemy is now a small enemy. So these are not I guess Merry Christmas to whatever that thing is. But I've got a few things here. And that's going to be it for today. So what I am envisioning is, let's say on that platform, if I'm over here in this level at the time, what I want is for 3 enemies over there to be looking around, trying to defend whatever they're trying to do, and then once they see me, they want to run towards me, and then a battle will start. So thanks to the data assets, I have a really efficient way of now selecting at least the skeletal meshes. And we're going to have lots more to do, but this is going to be the trigger essentially in some episodes down the road of a battle. And these guys got these funny Christmas trees things are going to be replaced with actual enemies. All right, that's it for today. Thanks everybody. In the next episode, I think I want to focus on blueprint interfaces. I want to connect the dots between data tables and data assets to see if we can do something with blueprint interfaces. And then from there, we can really expand on some things. Thanks.